flight. Here with Ryanair as we're down in Dublin. And we're going to be doing a flight down to Glasgow today in the lovely 737-800. Taking the Ryanair livery as we are going to leave from Terminal 1. Depart now of runway 10 right, or 10. As we're going to make our way to Glasgow here today on the channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Leave your comments down in the comment section below. Any tricky approaches that you want to see, do leave down and I'll take a look. So let's get into the cockpit and now start the aircraft up and ready for our departure today out of lovely Dublin. Okay, so we're in the 737-800 cockpit now as we are down in Dublin, ready for our departure route. So we'll get the battery on and guarded. Standby power will be guarded and ground power can now go on. As we go through our checklist, so we've got battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded. We can now get the left center fuel pumps on, which is checked. We get the left on. Now we're going to start the APU, ready for us to depart. Once we've got the APU on, then we'll switch the APU gen over. Position lights can go on as required, and we'll get the cabin panels all ready and lit up, ready to go. Logo can be on as we get ready to depart. Emergency lights can be armed along with our fasten seatbelts, and no smoking signs to on, which is checked. Packs can go to auto, and we'll get the trim air on with that. Isolation valve is open, and we'll get the APU bleed on after. So we'll do our APU tests, now fire tests. You can see the overheat detection now coming on as we test the bottles now. So the bottles are all good to go. The cargo, which we'll now test, ready for our departure, which is all set. Going back onto our overheat now, we can go and test the speeds warnings, which are checked. The stalls will come on after the batteries are all on and set. We can test the flaps, which are all checked, and the passenger side, the oxygen can be all done as well, with the flight recorder on, which is all set for us to go today. So over from that, got the transponder etc, which we can get on. We'll put our panel lights on, get the cockpit lovely and lit up. From there we'll get the transponder, our speed will be done as well. So we're going to the FMC, we'll get the IRSs aligned, then we'll set up our routing as we come out of runway 10. So as we leave out of runway 10, we'll go and set the IRS now. So we'll hit the position in it, go in and get Echo India Delta Whiskey, we'll shove that in, hit the left GPS, and then get that all in, ready to go, which is set. So we'll stick in Dublin over on the left. For our destination we've got Echo Golf for Papa Foxtrot, which is going to go in for Glasgow. On our departure we're looking for the Ortho4XP Foxtrot, and we'll be leaving out of runway 10. So there's the Ortho4XP Foxtrot, which we can punch in now as we now go into our route. So from there we're going to take the Papa 600, which will take us down to Blacker. And Blacker is basically going to be the start of our arrival. So we'll go into the arrival page. Coming in, we've got the Blacker 1 Golf. We're going to do the Localiser approach today. So we're going to take it as we haven't got the glide slope. We'll come down on the vertical speed, where we'll then match up our altitude to the DME. So we'll put the glide slope on. As we can see over here on the charts, as we come in, we can see we've got Glasgow for our initial approach fix, which is on the 115.4 for the Golf Oscar Whiskey, and we're going to hit Atlantic before we then make that left turn down. And as we can see, we'll be then running the pattern around to then intercept onto the 229, and there we have the frequency, which is 110.1. So we're going to transition at Golf Oscar Whiskey, which we can now punch in. We can activate that up now as we make our way for the perf. So we'll get our gross weight in. You can see I've got a fuel of 7.6, we've got 1.8 which is going to be in on the reserves. Cost index is going to be 23. Going for flight level 250. On for our ISA, we're going to be 203 for 032. which can be set in, which is going to give us a minus 35, as you checked. Execute that off, go to our N1 limit, we're going to take climb 1, go for full takeoff. We'll enter into a flaps 5, so we've got 140, 142 and 151 for V2, so we can plug that in. So we'll put 151 over on the MCP speed. We've got the courses which you can get for Dublin, so we're going to be leaving out on the 097, so we'll put that in and bug it on the heading, and we can plug that in as we get the VOR set. We're going to go up for, initially, we're going to come up for just around 4,000, and then we'll take her up to our initial altitude after, which will be for 250. As you can see on the charts, above 750 we'll make that right hand turn. So 4,000 set. We can now activate the flight directors, which are checked as we get ready for the rest of our checklist. So we'll get the Dublin in, which is going to be the 114.90, which you can punch in, which is set. After that, we see that we're going to leave out. There's a rotover up at the top here, as we can see, and we're going to basically leave down as we make our way up. So we'll go into the rest of our checklist and get that all set, ready for us to depart. As we taxi on out, we'll taxi out of link 3, come down through the Alpha hold short, and then cross over, and then hold straight down to Sierra as we come out today. We've got a QNH, which is 1013, which we have also got set, which is checked. Transponder will be set as well as we come down. We'll get our winds in as well, which is 110 at 07. Takeoff speeds will be deleted. We'll go back onto the page, get the V1 rotate and V2s back in, which haven't changed. As we now get in, we've got our cost index, and we've got the centre of gravity, which is 27.3. So that gives us 4.75, which will set on the trim now, which will get all ready and set, which is configured. And as we now make our way, we can now get back to the checklist before we get ready to call the tug and get ready out of it. So transponder now can be set, which is checked. We'll put it to TARA. Got our ICE indicated airspeed, which is set, which is going to be 151 for V2. We've got 097 for the initial heading for the takeoff runway, which is set. Initial altitude is 4,000 feet, which is set. We'll go over onto the overhead now and get the aircraft all set and configured, ready to come in. Over on our courses, we'll back the courses out onto the 119. So we'll go overhead now, we've got the yaw damper, which is on and checked. We can now get the fuel pumps on, switch over the buses, switch over to APU Gen, we'll get the TR1 on, get the window heats all alive, the probe heats will come on after start. Get the APU bleed on now, which is all set, with the electric hydraulics, which are all set and confirmed. Anti-collision lights can now come on, and we've also got the L11V nav, minimum ref, which is set, altimeter rev is 1013, auto brake can be set to RTO, comm radios are set, and we have got doors which are closed. So we'll set the auto brake now to RTO as we get ready to leave out of the lovely Dublin. So doors can be closed now. So as we can see here, we're over on link 4. We're going to come down off of link 3, we'll take a left onto Foxtrot, and then we'll take a right onto Alpha, which will then lead us all the way up to Sierra. We'll make that left hand turn at the Sierra 7, and then we can depart out from way 10. Coming in for the arrival, the airport's elevation, we've also got is 26, we'll leave that at 0, and on the localizer we can see here, we're going to be coming down for the India Oscar DME, which will run at the top, and we can see that we've got 8 DME, we need to be at 2,620. And so on as we come down. We'll monitor that on the approach so we can see and see if it all aligns. So airport elevation will leave at 0, it's 26, 250, which is set and checked. So we are pretty much fully configured now. So what we can do is we'll go ahead and call the tug and get ready to get pushback off of the block. So if we do our before start checklist, So if we do our before start checklist. So if we do our before start checklist, we've got our auto throttle, which we can arm, which is checked. Left, centre and right fuel pumps as required. We don't need the centre fuel pumps, so that's off, which is checked. Electric hydraulic pumps, which are on and checked. Parking brake, which is set. Ground equipment is removed, and engine area is clear. So we are all ready to go. That is our before start checklist. And for our engine start, we'll have our secondary display unit, which will be engine. Packs will be off, and then we'll go through our engine start phase. Leaving out the runway, we'll leave out on heading, and we'll engage LNAV after 400 feet. Pass it through flaps up, that's when we'll engage VNAV, and then we'll allow LNAV and VNAV to continue on course. So that's pretty much it for our departure. As you can see,
okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Tug's now going to connect us, lift us up, and get us ready to depart out today. So we've got the secondary display unit, which is all set and checked. Packs can be off, which are checked and set. Then we've got the engine start switch, which will run on ground, and be all good to go. So the packs are off, isolation valves open. We'll turn off the engine bleeds as well, just before the start. As the tug's lifting us up now. So it'll tell us to remove the brake. And then we can go on to our engine starts. Check for any discontinuities over on the FMC, which is all clear.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, so we'll go to our overhead now. You can see that the packs are off. We've got everything which is all set on the overhead panel, and we'll go for engine number 1. Put that to ground. We can now see the start valves are open. We'll see we've got N2, which is now increasing. The oil pressure has now come to life. 25% will inject fuel, 25% will inject fuel, and then we'll see the exhaust gas temperature come to life. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start engine number 2. Now engine number 1 switch has come over, so we'll switch engine number 2 switch to ground. So the start switch, we can see now that the start valve is open. N2 is increasing as our oil pressure has come to life. And same thing again, 25% will inject fuel, and then we'll see the EGT start.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
We are ready to go when you are.
Let the tug know that we are ready to go. Can switch over the buses, though generator 1 and 2 now can be switched over. Go ahead and get the probe heats on, we'll switch over the packs, get them back to auto. Isolation valve will be auto. Engine bleeds can come back on, the APU bleed can be switched off along with the APU, which is checked. Engine start switch will be continuous, which is also checked. Flaps is required.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal to left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
We've got our elevator trim, which is set for 4.75. Flight controls will be free and correct. And we'll do the recall as well. So we'll get our yoke. We'll do our flight controls.
Please make sure that you are able and willing to perform
This is checked.
these actions.
Recall.
If you're not, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be reseated. You are free to use your portable electronic devices.
As we bring the controls over now.
We ask that larger electronic devices are stowed once we depart from the gate. Thank you and welcome aboard.
So we're going to leave link 3, we'll follow it on left onto Foxtrot as we cross over of Alpha, and then as you can see we're going to go down to Sierra. Make that left turn onto Sierra 7 and that will line us up with runway 10. So we'll get ready to taxi now as we get ready to leave. So we'll switch our taxi lights on, which are checked, runway turn-offs as required, parking brake released, and we'll now power on up to runway 10.
Please fasten your seatbelt and verify it is low and tight across your lap. Your tray tables and seat backs must be in the full upright and locked position for departure.
So as we taxi on out, we're going to take the first right, which will take us off of link 3.
And stand by for all calls. Cabin crew, secure doors for departure.
We're going to make that left turn onto Foxtrot, and then that quick right hand onto Alpha as we cross over the runway. Then we'll make our way down to Sierra.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your complete attention to the flight attendants as they demonstrate the safety features of our
turn the terrain on.
You will notice a light illuminated above your seat. When this light is illuminated, please fasten your seatbelts low and tight across your lap. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into one another and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion.
Oh, there's that right on for link 3.
Suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight as you may experience unexpected turbulence. There are several emergency exits on
using
this
the packs
aircraft.
as well.
Please take a few moments now to locate
Passenger
your
ramp.
nearest exit. In some cases, your
As you
nearest
can hear,
exit may
the
be behind you. If we need
cabin
to
crew.
evacuate the aircraft, floor level
Swing the
lighting
left
will
now,
guide you towards
onto
the exit.
Foxtrot 2.
In the event that the cabin loses pressure, an oxygen mask will drop right in front of you. Start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it
It'll be our
firmly
first
over your
right
lips and
onto
mouth,
Alpha.
and secure the elastic band behind your head. Tighten the straps if necessary and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the
Lovely
mask.
morning departure
If
out
you're
of
traveling
Dublin
with a
as
child
well.
or someone who requires assistance, secure
Weather
your mask
is
first
quite
and then
nice.
assist others. Leave your mask
Not
on
too
until a
bad,
member
as
of
we
the
can
crew
see,
advises
with
you
real-time
to
weather.
remove it. In the event that the pilot decides to take us for a swim, a fashionable life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to
So we'll
do
take
so,
this
open the
right-hand turn.
plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle up
And then
the
we'll just
front.
take the
Pull the
turning
straps
just
tight.
off of the
To
right,
inflate the
just
vest,
right
pull
off
firmly on the
centre.
red cord only when exiting the aircraft. If your life vest does not inflate automatically,
Don't need the
blow into
strobes
the
here,
mouth
it's not the
for
active
manual
runway.
inflation. Each vest is equipped with a whistle and light. If necessary, your seat cushion can be used as a secondary flotation device. Please securely stow your personal items. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened and seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with,
So we take this
disabling,
right
or
just
destroying
off of
the smoke
centre.
detectors located in
Just
the
double checking,
lavatories
make
is
sure that we
prohibited by
don't taxi
law.
straight
All
onto
of this
runway 10
information can
by
be
the
found
end.
in the safety card located in the seat back in front of
So
you.
I'm powering up now
Please
to
read
around
it and let a
35
cabin member
knots,
know
go
if you have any
max,
questions.
even though it should be
Thank
around
you for
20
flying
knots
us.
for
Jen, we hope
taxi.
you enjoy your flight.
So here we are now on Sierra, as we're going to make our way all the way up to the end.
Please note the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
So as we've got that long Sierra taxi up, we'll try and get up there as quick as possible, as we are with Ryanair today. So we'll see if we do a bumpy one, or if we land a smooth like silk. Cabin crew prepare for departure. On for our before takeoff checklist, we're going to obviously on the line up on the runway. We'll go through straight out departure. So parking brake, we're not going to set the parking brake. Fuel flow reset and rate. We've got center pumps as required, which are off. De-ice and cabin lights as required. De-ice will be off as it is currently down 15 degrees, which is fine. Engine instruments checked. We've got V1 rotating V2. V2 is 151 as we take off. We'll then bug up to our flaps up, but we'll go through our flap settings, and once we get to flaps up, then we'll engage VNAV, we'll engage head and select. As we come out, it's just like the 737-300, head and select to initiate, and then you'll switch over onto LNAV after 400 feet. And then obviously flaps up, we'll then engage VNAV. So we'll bug up after takeoff to our flaps up. Flight director will follow as we speed up, and then we'll switch over VNAV. Takeoff date is all set, nav equipment is checked, we've got in the Dublin VOR. And then we'll have our landing lights on, we'll put on our strobes, taxi lights will be off, transponder with TARA, and TFC push on for the clock and start. So we're just going to pass Sierra 5, which will be the runway turn off. We're going to take Sierra 7. aircraft's fully configured now, ready to go. We've got the flight directors on. We're going to be leaving out the runway heading, which is 097. 750 feet above, we'll then go on to that left-hand turn, which is going to be on the 115. We'll continue up past 4,000 feet, and then we'll go up to our initial, which is 4250. Land elevation down is 0.26, and it should be a really nice flight today. So we're just now ready near the hold, where we'll get ready for our before takeoff checklist. So we'll come around the bend, get the strobes on as we pass over the hold. So we'll just slow down now so we can get the aircraft all configured. So we'll put our strobes, which can go to on, which are checked.
We'll be taking off in just a few minutes. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
So as we roll past off of Sierra 7, we're now going to line up at the start of runway 10. So before takeoff checklist, we've got parking brake, which we don't need. Fuel flow is reset and rate, which is checked. Center pumps are off as checked. De-ice can go off, which we have not got. Cabin lights are checked. Flight instruments are checked. We've got engine instruments, which are also checked. Takeoff data is set. V1, V rotate. For V2, we've got 151, which is all set. And nav equipment will be checked, which we've got the VORs in for Dublin as we leave out. So there we can see on the navigational display in front of us, we can see the pink magenta line leading off to the left. Once we reach 750 feet above, we'll make that left-hand turn, which is going to take us all the way onto the 115. So as we are all ready to go, we'll get off our departure route, go overhead now, get the landing lights on, which are checked, power up to 40%, push forward on the throttle, on the yoke, and toga. Head select can be engaged. Full pressure on the yoke. Airspeed live.
80 knots.
Check. Throttle hold. 100 knots. Neutral on the column.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear up. Check. So we can turn the auto brake off now. All lights out on the gear. LNAV can be engaged after 400 feet, and we can set the gear to off.
1000.
1000 checked. We'll bug up on V2. We'll go up to our flaps up speed. And we're going to make that left-hand turn as we follow around onto the 151. So we'll bug up our flaps up speed now as we go into climb 1, which we set on the FMC previous to the departure. Making that left turn onto the 115. So we follow her down. 015, sorry, as we go that track down. It'll be on around near to the 023. So we'll bung up to flaps up. We can go through our flap settings. There we go to flaps 1, which is checked. After takeoff checklist, we've got positive rate of climb, gear is up, auto brake is off, which is checked. We've got engine start switches, which are off and checked. Gear level position is off and checked. Runway turn-offs off, and cabin lights as required.
1000 to go.
So it's going to that right-hand turn now. Bug the 4,000 feet all the way up to 250, which is checked. Currently now just leaving the flaps up. As we follow on the flight director, LNAV and VNAV is engaged, and our flaps can be fully retracted. So throttle back now. It's going to go 230. Now we've got to 25. So N1's on. As we now brake off to that left-hand turn, so Just make some minor adjustments, just trim up a little, so we can keep the aircraft under 250. There's the altimeters, so we can switch them over to standard, which is 1013, which is practically what we left out on. Then we can turn the autopilot on, so we've got autopilot CMD-A, which is on and checked. Altimeter can be set to standard, which is 1013. Below 10,000 feet, max 250 knots, ATC as required. And then passing 10,000, we'll have landing lights off, seatbelts will be off, and center pumps as required also. So, engine start switches can now be turned off, which are checked. So, the aircraft's all ready. Runway turn-offs and taxis can also be checked, which are off. So, we are fully now ready to climb out up to 250. As you can see, we're just passing through 8,000 feet. As we get ready for some lovely views today, as we leave out of lovely Dublin. So as we can see, we're going to basically climb up to acceleration speed, which is target is going to be for cruise 297, and for our climb be 291. So after 10,000, we'll then go up to our acceleration speed.
So now turn on your larger portable electronic devices.
So landing lights can now go off under 10,000.
While you are seated and do not congregate in the galley or near the lavatory.
As we're just about to go over it anyway.
Onboard Wi-Fi. If you wish to connect to the Wi-Fi,
As we're now getting ready to make that final left-hand turn, break through the
we
clouds.
offer complimentary in-flight TV
As we speed up now to 291.
Connect to the Wi-Fi, and you'll be able to access our wide range of free live TV library.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we climb to our cruising altitude, we'd like to extend a special
So on our legs,
thank you to each of you.
everything is all set now as we move over onto that left-hand turn for the
Your
001.
business and loyalty are greatly
The flight crew
appreciated
has
by the
turned off the
entire
fastest
Delta
seatbelt
family.
sign.
Anytime the seatbelt sign is on, even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience any unexpected rough air. We ask that you also please remember to use caution if opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during takeoff. Now reach an altitude where it's safe to use approved electronic devices, and a listing of these devices can be found in Sky Magazine in the seat pocket in front of you. On today's flight in the economy cabin, it will be our pleasure to offer you complimentary Coca-Cola products, Starbucks coffee, water, juices, a variety of complimentary snacks, as well as a selection of our fresh eats items and all-day goodies. Beer, wine, and spirits are available complimentary for
Basically, we've got a flight attendant that's come over from Delta, and she's forgotten that she's with Ryanair. She's been there for quite a long time, so
as well as our fresh eats items
forgot.
can be found in the menus in your seat pocket. Please be reminded that Delta accepts only major credit or debit cards.
Okay, so that's pretty much it now, guys, for the departure. So I'll leave you with the takeoff cinematics. So don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Any tricky approaches that you guys know of, leave down in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to take a look. And if any take my fancy, I'll give it a shot on the channel. So I'll see you guys when we get back, and we'll get ready for our top of descent as we then pass off from Rotev to that right hand turn. So I'll see you guys when we get back. back to the flight. They are now coming in for the arrival for the Black 1 Golf. And you see we've got Atlantic there, max 230 at flight level 70. So we're going bug 7,000 down on the MCP altitude now, as we are just within just over 5 miles for our top of descent. So we've got 7,000, which is checked. We can also see now as we're going for our plan, as we'll show you the arrival down into lovely Glasgow today. So we're going to make our way from Godna, as we can see. We'll pass through to Blacker, as we then go down to Tango Romeo November. We'll take that left turn to Lanark, which is going to basically bring us around here. We're going to take a left turn, otherwise you can see to not proceed beyond Lanark without ATC clearance. So we said we've got the clearance, and we're going to proceed on now with the approach. So we're going to take a left turn at Lanark, which is then going to basically take us down onto the 053 7,230, where we then enter the pattern, which is then going to make us onto a right hand turn, and then we'll follow it all the way around, as you can see, which is on the arrival charts, to backtrack and then intercept onto the 229. So we've got Glasgow from the VOR, we'll backtrack up. So we've got the Glasgow VOR, which will get set in as we are all ready for our arrival down today. So we can see that we're going to leave down for 2,900 feet from 3,000 from the VOR at Glasgow. We've got Localiser we're going to do for the approach, we're going to do the ILS, so we can see that we've got our altitude to DME references just underneath on the approach. We've got the minimums as well, which we're going to take in, so we'll say the glide slope's out, so we take a 430 for 409. Passing through flight level 236. We'll get the Barrow minimums in now, so we're going to put it to we'll put it to 4.5 because it is quite tricky, as it is very sensitive, the knob. So open the speed brakes now to slow down to 280, passing flight level 230 now. Can be very, very fiddly. Okay, so we'll leave it at 450. It's round enough, it's about 40 feet higher anyway than the minimums. Should be fine. So 430, it's only 20 feet off. So we go down and get the Glasgow in. We'll get a Localiser, which is going to be the 110, and we've got the VOR in, which is the 115.4, which you can lock in and get ready for our arrival. So the 115.40, which is checked and set. As we come down, see our legs for Gerber. Tracking inbound now for the 029. As we come in for our descent, top of descent, we've got ATIS information, which is checked. On for the ATIS information, which we've got all set. The wind's coming down as we'll just collect up. Temperature down in Glasgow is 17. We've got the VORs in for Glasgow, C63 nautical miles. We can also preset the QNHs now, which is 1013 down in Glasgow as well, so we don't need to change anything off of the standard barometric pressure. Coming in, we'll get our landing performance. So we're coming in for runway 23, conditions are dry. On for our winds, we'll just get that up on the meter. So we've got 220 at 07, which is checked. Temperature is 17 down in Glasgow. QNH is 1013, we're coming in for a flaps 30, anti-ice will be off, which is checked. We're going to get our landing weight now. So we can see 61 to 56, which is 0.5, which will give us 67.9, which we'll input there. We'll get our V speeds, flaps 30, 151 plus 5, so we'll put in 67.9 plus 5 for VREV, and now we can see that we've got all of our braking actions. So we'll take auto brake number 3, which looks convenient for us today, and down in Glasgow. Coming in for the runway 23, we're going to use the Localiser approach today. We're not going to use the ILS, we'll just use the Localiser, so we won't use any approach, we'll use the VOR lock, and we'll use the vertical speed coming down on the charts as we have the DME to altitude reference, which is just under the arrival. So as we can see there, we've got everything all set and punched in. We'll get the Localiser in for the arrival, which is the 110.1. we'll switch that back over, so we leave the VORs in, we'll switch them over just at the last minute. Which is also set. Pass it through 16,005. Set the courses now to the 229. Do it on the first officer side, which is also checked. Passing through 15,009. Go slow down to 270. As it's in around 2,000 feet per minute. So we'll open up the speed brakes. Recall, which is checked as we go through our checklist. So de-ice is required, which is checked. We've got the anti-ice, which we set. And altitude, which is 26, we've got 0, which is checked. Recall, which has been done, which is fine. We've got the barrow, which is set for 450, which is initially 430 for 409. Decision height, auto brake as required, which is set for number 3. Localiser frequency, which is the 110.10, which is also checked. And we've also got the altimeter, which will be reset to local passing transition altitude. So it says by ATC, but it'll be 6,000 feet when we transition through. So as the aircraft now speeds back to 280, ready to come in. On our legs page, we see the Tango Romeo November as we're just arriving now, ready to make that right hand turn onto the 053. There's Turnberry, as we didn't put in the VOR, as we forgot. Currently 0 now, rising up the temperature's about 1. So we take the 053, which will then take us, we're not going to go to the hold, we max 230 knots at flight level 70. We'll make that left hand turn, which will then take us down to the Glasgow VOR, where we'll then make that right hand turn, follow the pattern in, we'll intercept for 229 and then intercept the glide slope at 2,900 feet, so around 9.2 DME. From the airport we will then start the descent down, as 8.9 DME is the start of the glide slope, so about 0.3 DME away. We'll set the vertical speed, get the aircraft configured as we now make that right hand turn onto the 053. Which is set. 15,000 will stay. We can see our top of descent, which is in range for 15 as we come down for flight level 7. So there's top of descent, flight level 150. So that is the point where the aircraft is going to continue its descent down onto the VNAV profile. As you can see there, we get for 70 at Atlantic, we make that left hand turn for the Golf Oscar Whiskey, which is the VOR, and then we'll come in for the runway. So we are pretty much fully configured, as we've got lovely clouds in the vicinity today as we come down into Glasgow. Still heading down to the 053. So with the localiser, we're basically going to use the vertical speed to come down onto the arrival, as we can see here. So we can see for our speed we're going to be taking about 820 descent. We're going to take the India Oscar DME, which is basically the localiser's DME, and as we can see here we've got the altitude, so 8 DME 2620, 7 DME is 2300, 6 DME is 1980. We'll follow that on the vertical speed reference, as our descent is going to be coming down for roughly around about 820, 830. So we'll stay between 800 and 850 feet. We'll initially drop for around about 1,000 and then we'll come down. So we can see all our speeds, and we can see that our descent with the DME profile, we've got 5 DME will be 1660, we've got 3 DME at 1030 and 2 at 710. Minimums is down for 450, so by the time we're down to around about 1,000 feet, something like that, we should be already disconnected, ready to come down. So we've started our top of descent at 14,400 feet, or flight level 140. As we come down, 7,000 in on the MCP altitude. You can see for Atlantic max 230. So it's 230 below for 70, but we're going to basically keep everything above board and keep the speed up as we come down. So we can get in there nice and hot. As the temperature now starts to increase, we can see with the arm, basically I can manipulate the throttles when the arm position is in. So as we have the speed brakes open, we drop down and lost a little bit of speed, we can manipulate that on the arm position, which is on the PFD. As we get ready now, we can see over on our charts, transition altitude 6,000, so we'll get everything all set. Passing through 12,006, we're then going to get ready to go onto the 303 left-hand turn, which will take us to the Glasgow VOR, which is 23 nautical miles out now. Got also brake number 3, which is set. We're coming down for a flaps 30-151, which will be a +5, which gives us a 156. So cabin crew, do your final checks for arrival. As you can see, the green marker, which is coming just right near that left-hand turn, that's basically to tell us where we're going to practically level off for 7,000 feet, which has been set on the MCP altitude. As we continue on down, we'll basically make that left-hand turn off. So we can come down to around 3,000, which will be the start before we get to the VOR for Glasgow, and then we'll descend down to 2009. It'll be 3,000 above, making it on the pattern as we come in. So passing through 10,000 feet now, we can start to get the landing lights all on and set just as we pass under. As we get ready to make that left-hand turn. So landing lights are on, which is checked. We'll go into our approach checklist. When we do get nearer to the airport, we'll get everything all set up and ready for us to go. So we can open up the speed brakes now, as we are going to slow down to 250, and then we'll eventually get down to 24. We've got a further decel point now, just passing for 9,000. Speed brakes are open as the aircraft's now going to start to decel down for 240. Currently still on the 053. We're currently going to make a left-hand turn in just under 10 nautical miles. So there's under 250 now. We can bug in the 303. Max bank 25, which is set. Passing through 9,002. 6,000, switch over for transition. Then we'll make that right hand turn for the 049. So we'll bug down now for 3,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign is now turned on, so it is time to return to your seats and fasten your seatbelt.
Okay, so as we pierce into the clouds at 8,500, we've got scattered clouds at 5,000 feet as well as 1,400. We'll make that left-hand turn now onto the 303. So you can see the wind now coming down. Beautiful scenery tonight of them clouds as we just brush through. So we're going to head down onto the Glasgow VOR now, direct, which will be on the 043. 049 will leave for the right hand turn. Currently on the 303, tracking inbound. 18.4 DME out from Glasgow. Currently at 7,000 feet now, as we're going to stay for 7,000 until we get right near the Glasgow VOR, and then we'll start that descent further. We'll hold down for 240. Engine anti-ice is off, plus 12 degrees. You can see you've got the VOR in, which is all set and ready for us today. So for the Localiser approach, we'll be all ready and configured, and we'll see how it all pans out. So got everything all set. Final checks. Throttles back as we now start to further slow down back to 240. We've got 3,000, which is bugged in, and then once we leave 3,000 we'll just stick it down to 2009, as we can see As we hit the Glasgow VOR, we'll come down from there to the 049 to 2,900 feet. We'll then spin around onto the 229. So there's the 2,900 set in the MCP window for the altitude. Currently still in the LNAV and VNAV. And then 2,900 above, which will be waiting for us then to go into our vertical speed, as we're going to say that the glide slope's out, so we won't follow the glide slope. We'll just basically use the vertical speed until we disconnect, and then get the aircraft all configured. Currently 11 DME out from Glasgow, as we just break in, skimming between the two cloud layers, and then we'll follow that pattern onto the right, and then get ready and all set up for the localizer approach. So on our approach checklist, we've got the altimeters which will be checked for 1013. We've got our localizer frequency and localizer course, which is set. Coming around the bend onto the 229, we can see there we're going to hit the VOR, come down. 8.9 DME is where the start of the glide slope will start, and then 9.8, which is for the Glasgow. We're taking the localizer, so it will be 8.9 DME from the localizer. We're going to call it 9.2 as 0.3. We're going to start the vertical speed down. So we've got all of our references for us to come down into the descent. Minimums is set. We're a little higher than minimums, so that's always a good thing. So we won't go below our minimums. We should be disconnected. We'll have the airport in sight, and we'll be fully configured down on the arrival. So cabin crew, take your seats for arrival. Transition is 6,000, so the aircraft's staying at 7 until we start going into that pattern, and then we'll start lowering down and get configured. Just before we go to 2009, we'll switch into level change, as we're going to use the vertical speed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can bug in now, we'll get ready for the 049 right hand turn, as we're just going to pass over the VOR now for Glasgow. DME onto the 049, which is bugged and set. As we skim through the cloud layers, still going 240, as we'll now make that right hand turn. Lean over to the right now as we track out onto the 049, ready to intercept in for the 229. So there we come around the bend now, as we can see, following the pattern round. So we've got a little bit of terrain just in the vicinity. 1,003 and 500 feet. Aircraft's going to throttle back now, start to nose down into that descent, as we're going to come down for 2009, 3,000 above, and then we'll go to 2009 once we line up. So we've got the altimeters which are set.
We have begun our final descent into Glasgow. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed.
Passing through 6,007 now. Use the localizer and the vertical speed coming down. So we won't be using the approach, we'll be using the localizer and just our vertical speed. So we'll manually control the descent coming down today. So we'll open the speed window now. Set that down to 230. It needs to be 230 below, down into the approach. On for the next fix for the Golf 013 Alpha 222 for 290 above. So you can see 229, Passing through 6,000 feet, we'll get the aircraft configured before we get to 9.2, which is where we're going to start our manual descent down. QNHs will now get switched over to 1013, which is checked. Passing through 5,008 now, 2009 is set. So on for our approach checklist, we can see we've got the altimeters which are set for 1013, localizer frequency which is checked for the 110.10, the localizer course which is checked for the 229, which is cross-checked. Coming down on the localizer approach, so we're going to be using the localizer and the vertical speed which will be checked. Once we come down for glide slope, gear down, flaps 15 which should also be set, and the speed brake is armed for flaps for the auto brake set for 3. So we are all set. Engine start switch will be continuous and the landing flaps will be set. So there we can see 8.9 DME is where we start the glide slope down. We're going to be 0.3 just ahead to start the descent, and we're looking for around about 820, between 820, 830. So we'll come down between 800 and 850 as we go in 50 increments, passing through 4007 now, as we're going to slow down to 222, and then we'll go to our flaps up. Then on that right hand turn we'll drop into a flaps 5 and get the aircraft all configured. So there's our flaps up. As we now get ready to track right inbound onto the 229. Okay, so we'll track the 229 now, we'll put it on the heading bug, which is set. Passing through 4,400 feet. What we'll do in a few moments' time, we'll switch over the localizer frequency, which are set, the courses which are in and checked, and we are all good to go. So
2500.
wait until the localizer gets over onto the left hand side, and then we'll activate the VOR lock. Get ready now to slow down into a flaps 5.
1,000 to go.
Which will bug us down to a 175. Just around. Passing through 3006. Currently 13.5 DME from the airport. $1,000 to go, checked. A few moments time we'll drop down into level change to get us to 2009, and then we'll follow the localizer to the DME to altitude for the descent down into the vertical speed. So we'll put on the localizer now, so the VOR lock is engaged. There's the airport in sight. 2500 checked. Localizer is captured now, as we're not going to use the glide slope even though it is there, but we're just going to basically use the vertical speed now. So as the airport's in sight, we can get partially configured. Passing through 3003, currently 10 DME out, so we'll drop to a flaps 15, gear down. Go to level change just to get us to 2009 before we start the descent for a 9.2 DME. So for the approach checklist, we've got the altimeters which are checked, localizer frequency and course which is also set. We've done practically everything there. Gear down which is set, flaps 15 which is checked, speed brake which is armed. We're going down now to our minimums which we'll set for 400. We'll set the vertical speed now as we'll go down for around 1,000 as we now start that descent down. So we'll hit flaps 30 so we can come down at the right speed and descent rate that is prescribed. So we can see 8 DME is 2620, and then we've got 7 DME, so 8 DME 2620. So you can see that we are a little high, so just descend down just a little more. So I'll put it to 950. You can can see it's 7, we've got 2300 and 6 1980. So 7 DME, 2,300 feet. So we'll just adjust our vehicle speed now. So 7 DME is 2,300, which is practically just right on. And then we'll go down for 6 DME as we pass through, which will be 1980, and 5 will be 1660. So 1980, which will be our next. 6 DME, there's 1980, so pretty much bang on for the descent profile. And then we've got 5 DME, which is 1660. So airport's now in sight. As we get ready to go, runway turnoffs can go on and checked, landing lights are on checked, gear is down 3 green checked, and landing flaps are set along with our speed brake, which is armed. Auto brake is RTO, and we have the airport fully in sight now for our arrival. So as we descend down 1660, we can start to get ready to disengage the autopilot. So we are pretty much bang on profile. So what we can do is we will disengage the autopilot and disengage the auto throttles, and we will fly the aircraft visually down onto the runway. So airport's in sight now. We are fully configured for the arrival, just passing through 1,000 feet. 18. Landing gear is down. We've got our speed rev, which is 156, so we'll just try and keep in line with that, coming down to red 2 white. At this point here we can follow the glide slope sort of down visually. We've got 2 red 2 white now, as we've done part of the localizer approach. So 2 red 2 white.
500 plus 100.
Continue.
Minimums 400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay, speed brakes are on and reversers are active. Check, reversers can be stowed. Reverse thrust to idle, and 30 knots. Auto brake can be disengaged.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated.
Okay, so disarm the auto brake. We can start to retract the speed brake and get our flaps all retracted and stowed.
This will be your
Ladies
one
and
and
gentlemen,
only
welcome
indication that it's
to
safe for you to get up
Glasgow.
and
The local
move out
time
of the
is
cabin. Please be reminded to use
6:33
caution when
a.m.
opening
and
the
it's
overhead
currently
bin.
about
To
70
prevent injury,
degrees
articles that
Celsius.
have shifted.
So retract the speed brake now, stow up the flaps.
Please remain
You may now
seated
use your
until the
mobile
aircraft
phone
has come
and
to a
other
complete
handheld
stop
electronic
and the
devices
seatbelt
while we
sign
taxi
is
to the
turned
gate.
off.
After
Remember,
landing
you're in the
checklist, we've got our
process of
transponder which will be
overhead
off
bin.
and
Items
set,
may have
so we'll
shifted
do that after the
during
left hand
flight.
turn,
This is
and
your
welcome to
final
Glasgow
message.
everybody.
Thank you for flying with us, and we hope to see you again soon.
And managing your scan miles
Just take a left hand turn now, ready to taxi onto the stand. As we can see over there, there's our stand.
Or any other information, a Uniform Delta agent leading this flight will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. On behalf of Delta Sky team, our
As you can see, cabin crew still has forgotten that she's with Delta. So
So
landing lights can now go off, which are checked, runway turnoffs can now go off, get our taxi lights which are on, and strobes can now go to steady. As we made our right hand turn, we'll get the transponder off, flaps will be retracted. Everything's all set there, landing lights are off, strobes will be off, taxis are on, we've got our checked, cabin lights as required along with the anti-ice, APU will be start, check and run. So as we come on this left bend, we'll do our landing after landing checklist. So as we line up now with the taxiway, can now do our after landing checklist. So transponder, which can be off, which is checked, flaps are retracted, speed brake, which is also retracted and down, landing lights are off with our strobe set to steady, which is checked, landing lights, taxi lights are off and on, sorry, cabin lights is required, anti-ice is required, APU can be started now, which is checked, probe heats can be turned off, engine start switches are off and checked, along with our auto brake, which is off. Runway turn off lights are off, APU gen check on and volts. So that is it pretty much for our landing now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the flight. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments down below if you have any tricky approaches that you'd like me to try out. So I'll see you guys on the next available flight. Here is the landing cinematics as we taxi to stand, and I'll see you all for the next available flight on the channel. Take care for now, guys. Bye bye.